Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us. I am here with Amanda and Clara from List Perfectly. If you don't know, they are the CEOs of the wonderful, wonderful company. So we'll give it a few moments for people to hop on. I feel like my StreamYard is glitching because it said that there were 0 people here when I see people in the chat. So that's a lie. But as we just kind of get people in, I'll say hi to some people really quickly. Hi, Osa Victoria and Kathy from Ginger Marvin. And Amanda and Clara, you guys want to say hi to everyone?
Hi. Hi, Becky.
Hello, everybody. Sorry, we're muted.
Oh, no, that's okay. What is a YouTube live if there isn't at least one technical difficulty, right?
Well, as I was saying, hi, everyone. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Clara, and we are the co-founders and co-CEOs of List Perfectly.
Yep. And
Yes, yay,
thank you for
yay.
having us here. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being
First and
here.
co-CEO.
I love our continued partnership and I love getting the opportunity to talk to you guys because you guys are always doing amazing things. Like you never just like rest and enjoy the fruits of your labor. You're always thinking about the next big thing, which is crazy. So I would love to just kind of start with talking with you guys about your beginning. Like, I feel like I've spoken a lot to Clara, but not so much to both of you together. But can you guys maybe talk a little bit about like how the two of you decided to create this wonderful software for all of us? Like how, I don't know, even like how you guys met, but like what your different roles are, all that good stuff.
Can I tell you how we met? That's my favorite.
Yeah. Clara loves telling this story. So,
Oh, yes. I don't know this story.
So it was socially, okay, through friends. And I'll never forget, okay, that I invited Amanda to a barbecue that I did in my place. And Amanda comes at that time, we're talking about like 12 years ago. Amanda comes with her laptop. And I'm very curious. At that time, I was taking, a break from banking. And it was around 2008. I didn't like what banking was doing. So I was contemplating my options. And here she is, this free soul, telling me that she's traveling around the world. Oh, I just came back from Europe from 2 months from with a trip with my mother, and I'm like, oh wow, note to self, I want to do this when I grow up. So I'm listening to her, right? And then sometime on the middle of the party, she goes and retreats to the laptop, and I see her smiling very big, and I'm like, wait. I see the light that she's oozing. I want to come and see what she's doing. And I'm like, I sit down around, right? And she tells me she sold something on eBay. And she shows me, said, and then it was a vintage vest. Caught my attention that had a hole in the chest, okay? And I was like, hey, is this even legal what you're doing? I'm like, I come from a highly regulated industry, banker. And she tells me, no, it's legal because I'm describing everything. So she described the hole, she described the size of it, okay? She described, the dimensions and so forth, and the shape. And I remember, 2 weeks later, I see her and she shows me the 5-star feedback on eBay. And then the guy sent her a picture showing that was the best he used when he met the wife, and now they were renewing their vows, and that's what it was so important. And they fixed it no matter what. But he was with a picture with the wife, and that was it. I was sold. I wanted to be part of e-commerce right away.
You know how they say like when big horrible things happen, like you'll remember exactly where you were and like what you were wearing and who you were with. Like it's like the same thing for you, but it wasn't like a horrible thing, but it was just like you knew somehow in your mind that this moment, this encounter was going to change your life forever because you remember exactly like all the details about this eBay listing. I
Yes.
love
Oh,
it.
it was a life-changing moment. That's when I
Yeah.
said goodbye banking, and all the career I was building for 10 years. And I came to join Amanda. I said data entry. I didn't even know how, because she sold only vintage. So I didn't know. I had no idea of vintage clothing. So it's an incredible journey.
Yeah, Clara. So as you've heard, we came from reseller background. We're just like you. We're just like your audience. I mean, that's who we were. I had been selling since 2003, And I mean, reseller life, I was traveling all around. I would go to thrift stores and different locations all around the country, sourcing inventory. And, I was burned out. I came from a corporate background, and honestly, I needed a break. So reseller life fit the bill perfectly for me. So I started selling on eBay, and, she talks about my laptop. Well, now a lot of people do everything with their phones, right? Well, that wasn't a thing back then when we first met. So, we back then we developed List Perfectly because there really wasn't anything like it in existence. We did it for our own business at that time. We really wanted something that would help make listing easier for Clara because she was going through some arthritis at that time.
At that time?
Yeah, for a while. And it just got progressively worse.
Yeah.
And we loved being resellers. We love reseller life. And, rather than saying, oh, wow, this isn't going to work out for me because I can't list anymore.
That was my attitude. That was my attitude. She didn't build software nor code, but Amanda has that mentality that, okay, let me go and try it. Okay. Mm-hmm. And she's very curious and she can teach herself. So you got to understand, we never planned this. List Perfectly was supposed to be a solution just for me. Mm-hmm. I enjoy the abundance. Okay. I was on my way to $500,000 as a full-time reseller, selling in eBay, Etsy, my website, Pinterest, and Instagram, and Facebook business pages. That's where, the first version that Amanda built me, that's where I could list. And that was incredible. When I left the clothing vault, that's a business, and we still have the website. I wanted to prove that you can have an ugly website and if you have beautiful listings, cha-ching, get ready. There is no limits. And I was on my way to $500,000 when she asked me to step down from the clothing vault. And Becky, I was shaking. As a reseller, finally I got it. And no, she's like, come on over, let's do this perfectly. Let it go. Let's do operations on List Perfectly. I promise you, this is she was always, and I knew, I loved it for myself, but I never thought your audience, here we are, Forbes magazine interviewing us. I never thought it would be this successful.
It's amazing. And I think one of the cool things about you two, and I know you have, somewhat of a team behind you as well now, but it started off with the two of you and, just this beautiful partnership. By the way, if I seemed a little distracted, it's because I told my husband that I really needed something to drink. So he brought it. He had 2 choices. That's why I was kind of looking out. And then he went out in the hallway to open the top so it wouldn't be distracting. So speaking of good partnerships, but so I think I love that story because Clara, I've heard you tell me so many times about how she asked you to leave your not necessarily leave, but kind of put more attention and focus on helping out with List Perfectly. So what are your different roles, would you say, between the two of you? Who does what?
So I am early on, we started building this solution back as far back as, really 2011. Was the first rudimentary tool that we had that we started using for our business, the clothing vault. And then it got progressively more complex. So at the start, I was always the one developing the solution.
She's coding.
Yep. And I taught myself to code and I got that done. And she was doing the heavy lifting, keeping the clothing vault going, using the tool, being the first beta tester, putting it through its paces,
hiring people, physical and virtual assistants, proving all the hypotheses, letting her know what was working. Oh, I hate this feature. No, hide that. It's and it was constant feedback. And that's where she's at. She's more but that doesn't mean that she doesn't do business,
right?
Okay?
No.
But she's kind of, Amanda is one of a kind, she's hybrid. Now, I don't touch code. I don't want to touch code because I really want to stay with that open mind and I stay on the business part. So my job was to help Amanda understand that we did not need investors. And I wanted us to own our mistakes and carry the future of List Perfectly in our direction. Instead of being worried of investors, I wanted to be worried of you, Becky, and your audience. What do they need? Instead of me, sending reports of, what's my run rate, what is my churn rate, what is my So for me, that's what it was important. My community, and what I brought was the concept, and I very firm with Amanda. I said she wanted sales team and she wanted, marketing, digital marketing. I was like, no, we're gonna go with organic and no sales. So, and then she's like, okay, no sales team, let's do the referral program, which is, here you are. So that's the way List Perfectly treats so well our referral members. That's how you guys have unlimited income potential, because I don't have to worry about investors. I don't have to worry about advertising or commercials and so forth. I worry about my community. My community is the one, presenting the software, reaping the benefits, not only of the software, but also of the referral fees that we pay that were so generous.
Yes, they are. Like, I can definitely speak from personal experience that the referral program is bar none like the best I've ever encountered. Not like I've done a whole ton of referral programs, but oh my God. And it's easy, right? Because I don't feel like I have to like say all this made up stuff. I don't even feel like I really go super in depth, but List Perfectly really does fulfill a very real need that the reselling community has, and it's already something that people are looking for. So it's a very easy thing to, I hate to use the word sell, but it's an easy thing to promote, because it's not like I'm trying to sell something that no one actually needs. Like, it's a pretty wonderful thing. With that being, this is such a sidebar, but it was really cool too, hearing you kind of talk about a lot of the choices that you had at the beginning when you started List Perfectly. Like, do you go after investors? Do you do the marketing route? And, I feel like the majority of my audience wouldn't care about learning kind of how you started the business. But to me, that's so interesting, and it shows that not only are you obviously good resellers, and, Amanda, you're good at the coding and all that kind of stuff, but it shows that you're really strong business women too. And that's one of the things I love as well about List Perfectly, is that we're supporting, a really strong, like two really strong women. And I know there are many other women on the team, and it always really, feels really good to support women entrepreneurs. So that's awesome. You were kind of talking about community, and you're talking about going to your community to find out their needs and their wants. And, I know earlier on the Facebook group, you were talking too about like, we're going to be talking about the future of List Perfectly and all that stuff. How do you seem to figure out day after day what it is that your List Perfectly community needs before we even know it? Like, sometimes Facebook group and people will be like, oh my gosh, like Mercari has this many characters now. And you guys are like already on it. Like, we're already updating. And I'm like, we have more characters on Mercari. Like, you guys seem to know so much. I'd love to hear like how you stay on top of things like that.
It's a combination. So it's like an algorithm, it's a formula. Okay. The second that you focus on listening just one channel, you will not direct your company in the right direction. You must be sure to listen your audiences in YouTube, in Facebook, in Instagram. Make sure that we ask the right questions. Make sure that everybody in List Perfectly team is a reseller. Everybody. So there is no exception. So we have all resellers. Everybody resolves something and it understands the tool. So that's very important that we do to stay on top of your needs. And we have even a feature request in List Perfectly. After you log in, okay, there is a main menu with many tiles. You go to Get Help, and then from Get Help on the upper left corner, you're going to see a tile that says feature request. You can send us there. We do take the time to read these things. We do take the time to build it. We want to this is it. We invest all the earnings, because I don't have investors. I don't have debt, So what we do is all the earnings of List Perfectly is invested in more to build new features, to make, what's the future of List Perfectly? Here it comes. We're going to make List Perfectly more intuitive. Okay. We're going to add incredible features to make the listing process smoother, faster, voice recognition, you name it. We will add many things. Okay. One of the things that Amanda has been working is so dedicated with our tech team is finally we're gonna bring cha-ching to List Perfectly. We're gonna show you
yeah.
the sold listings. We're gonna remove them for you. It's coming, and it's gonna work. And she promised me it's gonna make cha-ching. Okay, so I was like, I want the cha-ching noise. Okay, so the List Perfectly extension will let you know when you have a sales in your any of your shops, because we support unlimited closets or stores in the same or different channels. So we will let you know as long as you listed it with List Perfectly and save the listings in LP. We will let you know what is that. I know you're working eventually to make it even when you don't save attention, even if you don't save in List Perfectly. Okay. We will be able to do many, many things. So Amanda, that's I don't know if I think you're being very ambitious, but I'll go with your first one first. Okay?
Yeah. And I mean, just from your question, Becky, you asked about how do we plan our future of List Perfectly. Well, like most companies, you have a roadmap, right? You know where you are today, you know where you ultimately want to get to, and then you have to set up milestones along the way. It's just like when you're a reseller, you know, you want a certain income a month, right? You know you're not going to get there tomorrow. You have to put in the steps and the work. So you build your roadmap of where you want to go, and that's pretty much what we do on a daily basis. And we're constantly reassessing, constantly measuring, constantly seeing, is this getting us on the path to the ultimate destination?
You know what Liz told me the other day? Liz O'Kane is a great community leader right now, and I wanted to bring, you know what Liz told us? We're not afraid of failing. And innovation is literally 99% we fail, and then we celebrate the
1%. Yes. Yeah, and Liz O'Kane is in the chat, and Liz also has her YouTube channel is so good at, it's the opposite of mine in that if you ever have an issue with something, like she just gets right to the point. Like it's no hellos, it's just like, this is what we're talking about. This is what you do. And they're like really short, quick tutorials. So if you ever have like List Perfectly questions, I feel like her channel is really good to go to for like those tutorials and stuff. But absolutely, like having that drive and ambition, but also giving yourself permission to fail. And, you know, given the scope of how big you are now as a company too, like, you know, oftentimes having to fail publicly, like, you know, just kind of saying like, well, we tried this and maybe it didn't go the way we wanted it to, and, you know, X, Y, and Z. But I know for myself as a customer, I do appreciate the fact that you guys are always out there hustling and coming out with new features, even if there might be, you know, little issues now and then. But I would prefer that than just like, it's been the same thing for like 3 years and there have been no updates or no upgrades, you know? So I really like that. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And we do our best. And I can't emphasize this enough. We listen to you. Yeah. We listen to your feedback. We welcome it. I mean, any feedback is good feedback. Yeah. Whatever it is. We have feedback links everywhere. Yeah. We have feature requests, and we just want it to be a tool that you find is indispensable in your daily work life.
Yeah. And I think Camilla and Kane from the Fi Resellers, and I think they were saying that they're going to be part of Teresa Cox's office hours later, but they were asking, can you expand on what you mean by List Perfectly being more intuitive in the future? Maybe price suggestions or something like that.
Anything that can do to help LP to reduce your data entry. Okay, so what we're going to do is reduce your manual work, and then LP is going to give you suggestions. So it's going to be a process. And not only that, I want to add features like voice recognition. For example, if I have arthritis, so sometimes my pain is so unbearable that I cannot even hold the phone. So I want to make sure that I can put it on a tripod, and then I tell it, okay, title, okay, I don't know, Prada t-shirt, and this is what I dream of, giving options. You don't want to dictate, okay, you're going to type, but we're going to become more intuitive and help you to reduce the manual keystrokes.
There's a lot of work to be done with the listing, because we're resellers, right? We get the problem. You have a big pile of stuff that needs to get listed, right? It's the sourcing. Your sourcing sometimes isn't a problem. It's just getting that inventory online and listed. And so we are constantly looking at this problem. And I mean, we had it as resellers. And, you know, one of the things that we do at List Perfectly, we solve this problem for ourselves. And we encourage your audience to do this if you're not already. Use templates. It has saved so much time for that's how Clara and I were almost able to get to 500,000 annual income with List Perfect. Yeah, it's because we utilize technology. So one of the things most people ask about is, well, can't I just duplicate a listing? Isn't that the same as a template? And then, no, it is not. What we found is when you duplicate a listing, it takes a lot of work to clean that listing. So make sure all of that irrelevant information is removed. I can't tell you how many times before we had a tool to help us, we would review listings that we had done that were duplicated, and we'd see like the wrong measurements or the wrong image or the wrong color or something. And then there were even a couple of occasions when we had item not as described cases and we lost because we were duplicating listings to save time. You can use a template and just like put some verbiage that you know you're going to repeat, and you can come up with a template for various types of items. If you list furniture, you can have a furniture template. Maybe you want a bureau template. Like, you can get really granular in what your templates are.
Yeah. And I think that's, you know, I started with List Perfectly definitely like maybe 2-3 years ago, like you were saying, Clara, like probably one of the earliest people. And the only purpose for me at the time was I just want to get stuff from Poshmark to other places faster, right? And it really took some convincing and coaxing from you guys to try out the inventory management system and to list Perfectly first and then push my listings out. And that's kind of what Andrea Haynes is asking here. She said, I only do cross listing service. What are the benefits of loading all your listings and then exporting out opposed to just cross listing? So I don't know if you want to speak to that at all. And I know that's kind of what you're talking about, Amanda, as well, as just like when you do that, having the ability, and you can do this too within eBay and whatnot, but being able to build customized templates within List Perfectly so that process is both faster and efficient, but also, like you said, cleaner. That's still something that I need to work on. But like, I still am not using templates. I don't know why, but if you want to talk to Andrea's point a little bit about what the benefit would be to, you know, creating all of your listings into List Perfectly first.
Absolutely. I have a really good example. I know that a lot of people list on Poshmark, and Poshmark is changing rapidly, right? Yeah. So one of the things that you'll find on a site like eBay is they're putting a lot of work into their AI. And when you go and you list in List Perfectly first, and then you send that listing to eBay, it's going to autofill a lot of details for you. And it's actually going to cut down on your listing time significantly.
So I love what you're saying, Amanda, but the main benefits, okay, of saving your listings in List Perfectly, marketplaces are not image managers. eBay has lost a lot of images, okay? Poshmark deletes listings by mistakes. Sold listings or returns. What happens when you have a return? What do? So it's hard when you're growing, Andrea, and you gotta keep track of thousands of listings. You know, I highly recommend you to save your listings in List Perfectly, because once you save your listings on List Perfectly, we don't charge you extra. Even if you cancel List Perfectly, we don't delete your listings because we don't have a post services. So not only you will have, okay, a permanent place, which is a safety place for your listings to be permanently there, okay, for your future needs. Not only you will have inventory management, okay, like unlimited delisting, unlimited sold listings, unlimited templates, unlimited duplicates, okay? It's important that you understand you could just use this perfectly for cross-posting. Hey, good for us, $29, and we're just using that cross-posting. Good, you know, I just want to reduce the amount of manual work you're doing, okay? And then preserving image quality, because when you send an image to List Perfectly, we preserve the image quality, the original image quality you send us. But when you post directly to marketplaces, they already are tweaking the size of that image. And they call this process optimization, but it's compression. And marketplaces like Mercari or Poshmark, they make the images tinier and tinier and tinier every time you release from their platforms. They're not image managers. We let you do that, but understand the limitations in the remember, you can import in bulk. Okay, Clara, I want to do it one by one. This is a tedious job. Okay, perfect. 1 month, upload to the business plan. Import all your listings. Okay, come in bulk. Okay, some people are doing like 300 in like 2 hours. I think the record was 2 hours or something. Okay, and you don't have to do nothing. You click the listings, okay, on eBay or Poshmark, and then they list perfectly. That's the rest. You don't have to do nothing else. So try it, measure it. Why don't you go ahead and do 100 listings, marketplace to marketplace, and then I want you to measure it. 100 listings, okay, with list perfectly, and then from LP, and I want you to, okay, write down how much time you're spending on each process. This is what we do with Amanda to know how to grow our business in the right direction. Business plan also gives you analytics. Why? Because I could have never, okay, financed this perfectly. Myself, I'm the only investor. That's it, okay? I know what it is to grow a business from nothing. So I would have never known how to grow if Amanda wouldn't have given me data analytics. What is selling better? In which channel? Which time of the year, okay? And what is active, etc. And I can filter and so forth. So that I wanted to be a little, sorry, Amanda. I'm like, this is a very,
excited.
it's a very dear to me. I want to explain that you have many ways to use this perfectly. But when you need to make big money, when you really are ready to jump from hobby or maybe, you know, a passive part-time and you really want to hyper focus, try saving listings in this perfectly. It'll change your life.
Yeah. And we definitely have some people in the chat who are attesting to that as well. Ed, the reselling writer, said in an earlier comment too that they are a part-time reseller, but that the List Perfectly catalog can be used as an inventory management system, just like he uses it. And that's, for me, that was kind of like the push I needed to say, okay, let me try it out, was just like to have a central place to manage all of my inventory. And, you know, Alex from List Perfectly is also in the chat, and she kind of summarized, you know, you can list with templates. You can also delist and relist if you have all of your listings native within List Perfectly. You can mark those listings sold. You do get analytics, like Clara was saying, which is awesome. So a lot of people just sharing like why it's amazing to use the inventory management system, especially if you're already on the business or pro plan, like you have access to that. And then Liz was saying the added benefits are pictures, optimized listings from one spot for all platforms. So with that being said, let's talk about some of those updates. And you're talking about the pictures and how, you know, you're able to what's the word? You're able to keep the quality of the pictures that people import into List Perfectly. But not only that, I think that some people might find that they can save even more time if they list within List Perfectly, because they can actually even start doing some editing to their pictures within List Perfectly because of some partnerships that you guys have done with different apps like Savoy, Photoroom, which is amazing. Can you talk to us, first of all, just how did that even come to be, those partnerships with those two different apps? How did you do that?
Very easy. When you have a gifted person like Amanda with technology, literally so easy. They're so excited. The CEO of Photoroom and the CEO of Sicely, literally, they're like, and you know when it's genuine, you know, this is not, we don't partner with companies that we don't have an aligned vision and mission.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, they are so excited. And Amanda made it so simple. And they're like, what? That's it? That's not, don't I have to do something else?
Yeah.
Ronnie, please. I'm so proud to say you're magic.
Well, yeah, we my biggest fan right here.
That's great, because that's your partner, right? And if they don't, you know.
Yourself. Ways, and that's number one tip, okay? You want success in this e-commerce, look for someone that believes in you, in your dreams, and you don't have to buy them. Amanda, I started working for her as a data entry. She didn't give me partnership of nothing. I started to work from there. That came later, that we believe in each other. A lot of times Forbes just ask us, what is the key? Trust in the support yourself, even through the hard times. Sorry, go
No,
ahead, Mandy.
absolutely. So, yeah, we're really excited about these partnerships. We believe in partnering with companies that we think are adding value to reseller life. And, I love that we have Photoroom, who's really new, but boy, they're doing a great job with background removal.
Yeah.
If you have a picture of shoes that, maybe you took on a desk, but you want to give it that pure white background and just focus on the shoes. They have put a lot of work and effort into their algorithms to make that happen for you with like a click. It's incredible. So we now partner with them at no additional charge. If you upgrade to the Pro plan, you get Photoroom integration for 500 photo background removals, and we recommend, if you are on the Pro plan with List Perfectly, just do the first photo.
Yeah.
And there's no need to do your whole set of photos. The main photo is the one that's going to stand out to people. But just, take 500 of your listings, and it recycles every month, calendar month. On the first of the month, you get 500 more. So it's $0 extra.
Zero. You never leave List Perfectly.
Right.
And this was very well done, with the CEOs of Photoroom, and then Mandy here. They make, you don't leave List Perfectly. You can do it from your phone. You can do it from your tablet. You can do it from your desktop. You can do it from your laptop. You can do it with any browser. Okay. Yeah. We made it easy. You touch it a couple of clicks and that's it. Nothing. Back in the day, I have to teach myself how to do professional. I'll never forget, I have a Canon G9, okay? Right now, I think it's G14. And I taught myself how to do manual settings, because, when you use auto settings on cameras, they come weird. But I wish I would have had this. I've suffered from a severe arthritis in my hand and my hands and spine. Now it's so easy with these tools, save time. So, Becky, what is your code?
It is Becky Park. If you want to save 30% off your first month of List Perfectly, Becky Park is the code.
Becky Park. So I wanted to say, the reason I asked you about the code is because if you're a List Perfectly user, you're on the business or simple plan, use the Becky's. If you haven't never tried the Pro plan, remember, we let you use your discount code for each plan in List Perfectly at least once, okay? So we want to give you the choice to access to our premier plan and access these features like Photoroom with the discount that we're offering with Becky. And don't forget, I'm the only investor, but yes, we're planning to bring Photoroom to the other plans. Just give me time. Yeah, I'm the only one funding here. I'm putting out of my own pocket. Photoroom is not doing this for free. Okay, so I just want to make sure. Okay, but yes, we're planning to expand the benefits. Just give us time.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we don't want to forget about Sizely. Sizely, also a great company. What they do is if you want to share measurements with your audience. And whoever's viewing your listing, you can take the measurements and put them in a picture. So if you're measuring a t-shirt, it's going to have a picture of a t-shirt with where the measurements were taken. It's a visual representation, and it really helps your buyer to find out if it's going to fit them or not in a visual way. And they're a great company. The people over at Sizely are great. They're really customer centric, and those are things that we look for in partners. Who really is making efforts in the community, who's customer centric, who's really adding value. And
value.
Yeah,
proven. This is not what we're doing in List Perfectly. And this goes back to your question. We are not developers, or I'm not in this for the money. So it's not that I have to build something, test it, and then see if I can convince my investors or my customers that it's necessary. No, it goes all the way around. First, we discuss, okay, what's going to be needed. Then she approaches with several ideas of how to do it technical. And then I approach with several ideas of how I'm going to sell that organically. And when I say sell, for me, me, I don't sell this perfectly. I say sell because I'm selling, but literally what I do is ask questions. And then I tell you about the benefits of List Perfectly, and you make the decision. But that's I just wanted to share that aspect of it.
Yeah. For sure. No, and I think it's, you were talking about Sizely and about having this representation of like a visual representation of what the measurements are for a garment. And, again, from the perspective of someone who doesn't like to sit there and like type things out very much, or even like to have like a piece of paper with like all the measurements on it. People do a lot of different things for the measurements, but it is such a great way to condense all that information into one picture. It kind of makes me think about even like Depop, for example. I think you only get like 4 pictures over there
Yeah.
per listing or something like that. So this is a great way. I personally like to take pictures of like the tape measurer on my garment. I know some people are like, ew, I don't buy it from people like that. That's fine. You don't have to buy my stuff. But that's what I do. So sometimes I have like 3 or 4 pictures of just measurements in my
Yeah.
listings because
Yeah.
I don't want to type all that information out or write it down anywhere. But, if you were to just take those measurements, then you can look at the pictures or whatever and put them into Sizely. Then you've got all those measurements in one handy dandy picture. And so
Yeah.
it's not taking up really valuable real estate, even within, the number of pictures that you get per listing. So just so many reasons why it's really helpful and useful. It's not something that I use for every listing, but I do find that every once in a while I'm like, oh, this would be a good listing. Maybe there's just too many other things that I need to take pictures of on the garment. And I'm like, I don't really have enough pictures left for my measurements. So let me just go ahead and use a little Sizely thing. So they're both really cool. What do you call them? Extensions or like widgets?
Integrations.
What
Yeah.
are they?
Integrations.
Integrations. Yes, they are. So I wanted to point out Abel's Treasures comment. They said, I just started list perfectly and added my 450 items in the inventory manager. It took me a little while. Yes, it is a time investment up front, but man, it is worth it. Absolutely. And Melissa has a great follow-up question to Sizely. Do we have to pay for Sizely if we have the pro plan?
Yes, because with that integration, okay, Sizely does not have, let's say, like a free option, okay. So what you're gonna do, they have a very affordable plan. I think it's $5 or
Yeah.
something like that,
I
okay.
think it's $5 a month if you're just paying for it month to month. If you're going to commit to a year, it comes down to like $4 or something.
Let's remember this, Melissa, okay. It's a write-off, and I want you to think of this, how much money you're gonna be saving, because why would List Perfectly integrate with Sizely? Why would I want you to do more work? Do I want you to know? I'm telling you that you're gonna save time, and I'm making you put measurements. Why would you do that? What's the benefit for your business? Melissa, I promise you, and this is scientifically, okay, by adding measurements to your listings and using Sizely, what Sizely does is visualize, instead of providing that picture of that in many pictures, like you do, Becky, for example, chest or sleeves or whatever, right? Or circumference of something. In one image, okay, you're gonna have all those measurements included. So what it does for you is when you have an item that is being disputed for not as described, okay? When you have, okay, for example, a return for whatever reason, okay, you want to reduce, you want to use measurements, okay, to represent your listing and avoid returns. Sometimes they're not going to return it just because it's an item not as described. It's just they didn't like it. I thought it would be bigger, smaller, tighter, looser. So measurements are going to reduce your returns. They're going to reduce the margin of loss, okay, because shipping and the whole thing, okay. So that, whatever it is, $5 or $9, it's nothing when you're thinking what you're saving on reducing returns and the item not as described.
And the other thing is, we prove this as resellers. We were always in the top earner, the top category of expensive items, honestly. And there were other sellers that would sell less than us, but we focus more on the quality of our listings, and we would put like information, any kind of information that you would want to know about that listing, and we would charge a premium for it, and we get it. And this is proven that you're establishing trust with your buyer when you put a little bit more effort into your listing. If what you want to do is volume and just crank it out and just, let's just liquidate everything as quickly as possible, I get it, that's fine.
Yeah, that's
but for the type of items that Clara and I sold, they're rare. They're more, it's just a different, it's dependent on your business, of course, but we
I think
found
everything
can be, yeah, exactly.
unique.
If you take a little extra effort and make your listing stand out by using the tools that are out there, it's a small amount, but you gain so much more in higher sales prices, more follow through, less returns, happier buyers. And I always talk about this with a lot of people focus on, how do I get traffic into my store? How do I get views? Views do not equal sales.
Yes.
You can have 100,000 views on your listing and never sell it.
Yep.
You could have one view on a listing and sell it.
Yeah.
It depends on a lot of things. And so when we, as sellers, we actually created the Pro Plan from this mindset. With the Pro Plan, we'll talk about it a little more, but it has a very advanced templating system.
Mm-hmm.
So we're actually building the description for you in a way that the buyer would easily find the information that they need. We're going to build it so if you sell internationally on sites like eBay, you can do that. You can have measurements in centimeters and inches for your international buyers. There's a lot of things
hot. If you're not providing measurements in centimeters, you're missing. When I added centimeters, my sales increased 40% because I started to sell globally more. That was a money maker. Centimeters, the less you can, your buyers, the more information you give and in anticipation, and you don't let them, go and click and go and deep, then the faster you're going to be selling your products, the faster sell-through ratio you're going to have.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to adjust my light because it looks like I'm in a cave, and I didn't want to it might still look like I'm in a bad spot. I'm so sorry. Everyone's home, and so I'm like in a little corner of my master bedroom. I love that we came here to talk about List Perfectly and, your updates and stuff, but you're giving us a master class on reselling, and I love it. I'm here for it. And I love that, that kind of intentionality is what went into creating List Perfectly and creating, especially like you were saying, that Pro Plan of just letting your buyers gain instantaneous trust just from looking at your listing, because you're taking it seriously, you're taking your items seriously, and so the buyer can look at that and say, this must be a reputable seller. And I think that it's really cool that you've kind of just created a system in which we just plug the information in and out pops something that looks really professional, right? That's what Ruby's
well, I think that because English is my fourth language. So I don't want to be using Grammarly or more extensions to compose the listing. So what I wanted is ask me questions, and then I told Amanda, I want those answers to become, the body of the listing. And I told her at that time, I want you to copy. Let's go and decide between Nordstrom. At that time, we're seeing who is selling more. Nordstrom, we're seeing what's eBay doing, what's Walmart doing. Yeah. We're like, how are they selling in their websites? And that's why I always want to remind you, go to the clothingvault.com. It's a website that we made it ugly on purpose, but we wanted to prove that you can sell a lot, if your listings are well done with a wealth of information without being wishy, I don't know, like without being pushy, okay? Yeah. Like leave me a positive feedback, and be professional. So I just wanted to.
Absolutely. Is this correct? Clothingvault.com?
Yeah, the clothing vault.
Okay. Oh, don't pay attention to that. Theclothingvault.com.
Clothing Vault is my store in Poshmark, and then the Clothing Vault is my website.
Yes. Yeah. If you want to see an example of a very professional reselling e-commerce site, that's a really good one to go to. And that's one that Clara started. So that's awesome.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. I think you had said earlier that you wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about the Pro Plan. Did you cover everything that you wanted on that? I can't remember.
Oh, there's so much about the Pro Plan.
I know you've been using the Pro Plan for quite a while. So I think we talk about, you answer questions and LP builds the listing. You don't have to go and narrate the thing. That's one of the things, and I think I'm very happy we talk about that.
I know what I wanted to say. So the Pro Plan, so that is, the Pro Plan is the closest to what Clara and I were using when we were resellers.
Oh, wow.
List Perfectly is a close approximation. When we developed our solution that we were using every day, we had a lot of whistles and bells, and it would even do your dishes. I mean,
I love that one.
But when we thought about how do we bring this to everyone, what is the product that we can put in people's hands? One of the things that I always thought about is, if I have to hire people to do my listings for me, how do I get what's in my head and the way that I want my listings done across to them? And the only way was templates. I was able to get the right verbiage that I wanted and give it to them so that they just fill in the blanks, literally. And that is what the Pro Plan can help you with, because you can template almost every single aspect of your listing.
Reminder, when I have the employees for the clothing vault, so what I would do is make them create templates out of the sold listings, because your employees don't know. I don't know what kind of, so what I build is perfectly, overhead is the most expensive, cost, you're going to have when you're reselling, and most every business, but what we did is List Perfectly is designed so you can delegate and transfer, your listing responsibilities easily to your employees, and you can create templates out of sold listings. So they don't know. So I would tell them, so today these and these sold, right? And then at that, of course, I have automatic delister, on that one I have everything, bells and whistles, like Amanda said. So whatever sold, they would create templates of that, and they would choose, when I have new merchandise, I would make them look into the sold listings and create a template out of that, and then they would create the listing on that.
Yeah, and I think, first of all, I hope that one day you guys do get to release the version that does dishes too. Like, you can call it
it's coming.
or plus or something. But I get it too. It's like, I feel like you said, I've been on the Pro Plan for a while now, and I bet I know for certain that there are some features that I still just haven't had time or the energy to unpack. But furthermore, there's probably features that I just flat out don't even know are there or understand, or they're just not something that I need at this point in my business, right? And with that comes definitely a learning curve. Like, something I appreciated when I had Alex on my channel, this was many, many months ago at this point, and she did make a point to say, it's not like you press one button and then your listing magically appears in all these places. But like you said, you've added so many bells and whistles, and with that does come that time that it takes to learn how to utilize them. And kind of like what Liz shared too in the chat, I'm trying to find the comment. She said something here it is. She said, if I see something like Sizely, I'm going to try it for a month or something. And if it's not for me, it's not for me, and Clara, you kind of mentioned that feature of how on the Pro Plan, you fill out all of the information, and then you can press a button that says something along the lines of create listing title or something. Am I making that up?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what they'll do is they'll take the information that you've plugged into your listing, and using that information, they'll construct a listing title. And I was like, oh my goodness, right? So I tried it, and I was like, I don't know if that's for me, or, but the fact that there are so many options, and the fact that they've thought through so many different things, it does take some time to learn. It can be kind of frustrating at first if you're like, I'm not getting this or whatever. And because y'all are so ambitious with tackling so many different reselling platforms, and because you're at the mercy of those platforms and their updates, and and when those platforms update, 95% of the time it's for our good. It's because they're doing something that should be helping their sellers as well. But with that comes, oh shoot, we got to update, or we got to, do something because they've changed stuff over there. So, it's not a push a button and everything goes everywhere, but there isn't anything that exists like that either. And if there were, it wouldn't be allowed.
Let me explain. And there is things out there, that you push one button, and then breaks terms of service, B, maximizes the errors because technology is not perfect. So you're going from List Perfectly, and then they are pushing listings, okay, and you have no chance to review it, and so you're by the time you review it, you already broke terms of service because you published something incorrectly. Categories mapped wrong, okay, colors or any item specifics are mapped wrong.
Black
There you
images.
go.
Like I can't tell you how many times,
Yeah.
you know, and without talking about other things, but yeah, what we noticed also, let's say everything's perfect, okay?
Yeah.
You can create that solution. You push a button, woof, there's the listing. The reality is,
I like it.
the reality is marketplaces are changing at breakneck
Constantly.
speed. They're just this month we're going to get a new eBay seller update. They're adding categories. They're going all in on item specifics, and they're constantly changing and tweaking these. You want to control that.
Yeah.
You want to see your listing form. You want to review all these things.
Yep.
Let's say, for example, you use market to market copy, and you never use the List Perfectly catalog. You might have a listing on eBay with some wording in your description, like I accept PayPal. You send that over to Mercari. That's a no-no if you don't review that listing. And you put in I accept PayPal, that's a reason to be suspended on Mercari. Yep. So we think it's incredibly important to always review your listings on the marketplace that you're selling on.
Because once you have a listing that goes stale, okay, the only way, once a listing has been born stale, it's gonna die stale. What you gotta do is delist that, okay, and relist in a way that you're testing what measure. Did I say people measure what? So guys, I can sell the same phone, okay? Becky and I, we can go right now, and I can't wait to do these tests so people can see. We can both sell the same product, but we can present it in our listings differently, and we're gonna capture totally different audiences, even if we're meeting one block away. Even if we're going together to post for an eBay, all the events together, even if we're in the same meetup, okay? I promise you, I've seen, and this is what Amanda, this was what sold me about e-commerce. Clara, don't worry, e-commerce is big enough for all of us.
Yeah, I love that. It absolutely is. That's why you hear people say, like, I can sell this brand, and other people are like, I cannot, or, you know, or that's why you have something listed somewhere and it's been there for 8 years, and then you cross list it to one other platform and it sells that day. I mean, yes, it's just, and like you said, you just need the one person to buy it, you know, like it might be the first person who sees it, or it might be the, you know, first person on a different platform, whatever it is. But obviously, you know, when I think about the first reason why I started with List Perfectly in the first place, it was to get my items in front of as many eyes as possible instead of just keeping it on the one platform. But you know, again, all of the like reselling tips that you guys are sharing as well. Thank you for that. I know that that applies to all of us too. We're not just List Perfectly users or people who are, you know, on the fence about trying out List Perfectly, but we're all for sure resellers, and y'all are dropping fire when it comes to just information regarding, you know, tips for reselling. And this is so funny. So while we were doing this live, Ruby Sons, aka Lauren, just created their first listing with Sizely, which
Congratulations!
Yeah, and it, you know, like Liz said, it's worth trying.
And what I recommend, if it is too time consuming, okay, try to provide at least 2 measurements. Okay, you're reducing already by 70% the chances of losing a case, and then just do it if you're very, very, very like your time is very, very tight. Just do it for the top shelf. I call it the top shelf is my VIP products, okay? So just reduce your chances of a loss with your top shelf.
That's smart. I like that too. And kind of like what you guys were sharing about Photoroom, you know, if you don't, I actually do have a pro plan subscription to Photoroom because I had that before you guys even integrated with them. But if you're just using the 500 pictures a month, just use them on the first picture to stretch out those 500 free, you know, background removals. And same thing with Sizely in terms of like saving time. If you feel like it just takes up too much time, like Clara said, you just kind of save up those Sizely things, not because you have to pay for each one or anything, but just because of the amount of time that it takes. Just save it for your listings that are, you know, $100 or more, or $500 or more, or whatever, so that if something were to, you know, a case were to get opened or someone wanted to return something, the chances of that being allowed to happen are much slimmer, which is really great. So we're almost out of time, which makes me so sad. Although I'm like so appalled at the lighting right now. I'm so sorry. Like I don't know how to fix it. There's just not a good spot in my house. But I did want to spend a little bit of time talking about community, because as wonderful as your software is and as wonderful as your reselling tips and all that stuff are, I think one of the greatest things too about List Perfectly is the community. And I know that that's really important to you guys. There's a really big community in your Facebook group. There's a really big community over on Instagram. I know you all have a YouTube channel as well. And I know that as part of community, you have such a really cool event coming up in the form of this huge like Posh Fest party type thing.
Yes.
Talk to us about that and how that came about and just why community is so important to you.
So early on, okay, we decided with Amanda instead of focusing on sales, okay, instead of focusing on digital marketing and advertising and commercials, I would say, how can I carry the List Perfectly message, okay, in a way that is different from everything I've been doing? I came from banking, she comes from tech, okay, so for me was connecting with each of you. Like, I didn't want to just collect your money. I wanted to know, how is List Perfectly benefiting you? How did List Perfectly help you grow? What would you like on List Perfectly to see? So for me, it was very important to understand my community, because my needs as a seller are, and to think that back then it was called List Clothing, okay? And to think and to be so arrogant that I have the answers for what you guys need, for me was just no. I knew that I couldn't do this alone. And Amanda, as much as she can be gifted, okay, with coding and make all these magical things, if we don't have your feedback, our community's feedback, at the end of the day, you guys are. I just didn't want to create another solution. That is what developers can do and what investors want to afford, okay, and not what our community really needs. So that was the reason why we decided to focus on community at all times, right, Wendy?
Yeah, and we kind of briefly talked about this at first, but I think it applies. We were strongly felt that we wanted to keep everything in the community. We never wanted to do digital advertising. We didn't want you to be like surfing the internet and then there's, oh, look, here's something, an ad about List Perfectly. We wanted it to come from you, and we knew that if you were in the group telling us what was working for you, what wasn't, you would be more likely to tell your friends about it. And that's the whole idea. Yeah. We want you to tell your friends about it because, one of the things about List Perfectly is that we don't want to be a cookie cutter solution. No. We want you to make it your own and adapt it to your business. That's why it's so flexible. That's why it can seem intimidating, but it really isn't. You could use List Perfectly right out of the box and it'll be just fine. And like we always tell people, people don't really understand that we are unlimited in everything. You come, you cross post as much as you want. You use your catalog as much as you want. The only difference in our plans is the level of complexity, right? So the simple plan is the most simple. It's the most basic, and it's going to have the least bells and whistles. That's going to be the easiest plan to use, but it's going to be more limiting.
And require more manual work.
Yep. And then you bump up to the business, which is the mid-range, and it's the most popular. And then there's the pro that comes with all the bells and whistles. Unlimited. You can use it again. You can use it right out of the box, just as it is, or you can customize it to work for you.
Aw, crazy jewelry lady. I love it. I'm sorry, I have to.
I know, it's amazing. And whenever people start on a platform, sometimes there's a lot of luck, like right when you start listing and stuff. So it's so exciting and addicting, when you get on a new platform, for sure. No, that's amazing. And I love that so much thought went into it from the beginning of like, if we have investors, if we have this and that, then we're answering more to them than we are to our customers. And I love that was a conscious choice and decision that you made to say, the only voice we need to listen to is the consumer, is the person who's actually using the product. And that's really what goes down in that Facebook group every day. Like, I don't really say much. I feel like Liz, she's in the comment section. Like, she comments, I feel like, on every single post, which is amazing. It's amazing. And they have like moderators and stuff too. Yeah, I really don't I don't comment that much, but I'm definitely a lurker and I just kind of like see what's going on. And there's everything in that Facebook group, from people asking like just even like reselling questions about like specific platforms or different things like that, as well as questions about List Perfectly, or ways that they've learned they can use List Perfectly to help make their reselling business more efficient. And it's just such a cool place where there's give and take of just ideas and information. And it's unlike other communities that I've ever seen before. So kudos to you guys. And do you want to share really quickly just about this big party that you have coming up? I know that there are no more tickets available, but
we're working on it. Wait, we're working. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. We might have a chance. I asked Alex. I don't know what we're gonna do. Amanda's gonna come with some magic. I might make room, for a little more limited. I don't know. I haven't got a green light. Mandy's almost done. Just we want to make sure that the event goes smoothly.
Yeah, and we want to make sure everybody has fun, and it's going to be so much fun. I mean, as it is, like
we're celebrating Poshmark. Come and join us.
Posh Fest is always fun. We're from Phoenix, so we were there in 2019 at Posh Fest, and the last live one that they had.
Met Manish in person. So, oh my goodness.
So what a better time than to get together with your reseller friends and talk all things reseller. Nobody knows about our journey and what we do better than each other. So it's so nice to be able to come together and just share stories and congratulate each other on the year and how we're doing.
Oh, the giveaways we have.
Yeah.
I'm giving away laptops. Okay, that's it. Okay, we're giving away like 30 subscriptions of List. Everybody has a chance to win. We're giving away a lot of things. We wanted to make fun. Okay, you're gonna get something, not only knowledge and friends. Okay, what is it? They call it best posh friend or something like that.
Yes. Posh friends forever.
Yes, I love it. So
yeah.
You're not. Are you a posh seller? You're not a posh seller. Come on over. Come on, join us, because this is a fun way to learn about Poshmark or celebrate about Poshmark. And what we're gonna be doing, is donating. We're only charging like, I can't remember, $7 or $10, because we're donating that money for a cause that is very close to me. For a very important foundation, nonprofit foundation that helps to prevent women that have suffered domestic abuse. So that's very close. All funds and procedures are going to be donated to that. So it's very important that we help as much as we can. Not only our community, but other women that might be in a situation that could be tight, and at the same time let them know reselling change our lives. Change all of our lives.
That's awesome. And I love that, like you said, the proceeds are going towards such an amazing cause, because you could have easily pocketed it and just been, a little bit richer, but that's amazing.
No, we're fine. We're fine. No.
Yes. So here's what we're going to do. List Perfectly, because they're all about community and they're all about wanting to also help, there's, the sellers and whatnot. They have given me permission to give away 1 free month of List Perfectly. So the way that we're going to do it is I'm going to show a banner with a question, and I don't know the answer to the question. Hopefully you two do, because what you're going to have to do you guys see the comments on your StreamYard screen?
Let's see.
Yes,
maybe.
I do. Yes.
So if you go to comments, and I'm just going to tell you right now, I've heard that sometimes what we see on StreamYard as the comments can be in a different order than what you might see on YouTube. So I'm just going to tell you, like Scout's honor, that between the three of us, we're going to go off of what we see on StreamYard. But I'm going to put a question, and whoever responds with the whoever responds with the correct answer first, you two just call out the YouTube handle and you'll get a free month of List Perfectly. And if you are already a List Perfectly user, you can still, get that free month. Or can they use that to like upgrade instead to like a,
They could,
yeah, okay.
yes,
Or,
any plan. As far as I
okay.
believe, you can choose any plan.
Awesome. And so let me pull up the question. Here it is. Okay, and you have to let me know too if you don't actually know the answer to this. If you don't, I'll make up a new one on the spot.
Yeah, and then we're next. Okay.
The question is,
Uh-huh.
to win a free month of List Perfectly, be the first to answer the following question. What month and year was List Perfectly founded?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Nice.
Do you know the answer to this?
Well, we do.
Okay, so you guys know the answer. So just throw your guesses in the chat right now, and you can just guess multiple times if you want, if like no one is guessing. But we're guessing what month and year was List Perfectly founded. This is for a free month of List Perfectly. And while people are throwing their guesses in the chat, you got to do month and year, Andrea. You got a good year there, but guess month too. And you can, how about if you guys want, you can say like hot or cold. But also, there was a good question that we can answer too. If you can't pay the fee 1 month, does it delete all your listings?
We have a winner already.
We have a winner
We have a
already.
winner already.
We know the winner. Okay, let's talk to the winner.
We have a winner.
Yep.
Who is it?
The FI resellers.
FI resellers. Was it this?
Yes.
We
That's
started
correct.
in 2019. It seems like it was so. I guess I haven't even been reselling that long. Like, I don't know what, yeah. Oh, that's amazing! Congrats, King.
Congratulations.
That's awesome. Okay, so we'll get you guys set up with them. Really quickly, back to this last question of if someone cannot pay for a month, just throughout the year, whatever, does it delete all their listings? How does that work?
We don't delete listings. It's our commitment to you. We don't have a pause services. So rest assured that if you click cancel, okay, we will not delete your listings no matter what plan you have. When you come back to List Perfectly, use your same user ID and password, and we will not retroactively charge you a storage fee or I don't know, maintenance fee, whatever.
Yeah.
You just select the plan and just start paying. It's a month-to-month recurring membership. And if you want to cancel again, you want to come 1 month and cancel the next 1 month and cancel it. That's it. You can do that. You can cancel for a year. We're not going to delete it. We're not a marketplace. We're a listing service. So I don't have to worry about, returns or checkout or anything like that. So having backups of your listings and you having the peace of mind that we're a safe place for your listings is what matters to us.
That's awesome. I love that. I didn't know the answer to that question, but that's a really good answer. So good job. Well, congrats to the FI resellers and to everyone who's here. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I feel like I have members of the List Perfectly team on my channel pretty frequently. I know I talk about them frequently, and it's because I'm obsessed. Like I really, and I say this all the time in my videos too, but List Perfectly is one of the very few tools in my reseller kit that I use every single day. Like if it went away, I would die. Like I would cry my eyes out because I just wouldn't know what to do. Like I would not know how to resell, which is
you're here to stay. Worries not. Okay?
Oh Lord, yeah. So I mean, and to you too, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for creating such a wonderful software that helps so many people. If you ever have questions, let me throw these banners up really quickly. List Perfectly does have a YouTube channel, and there they do a lot more like interviews, but they also do tutorials and things of that nature. I do have a good number of videos on my channel as well with different tutorials and, just kind of showcasing some of the updates and whatnot. If you wanted to learn how to use List Perfectly or how specifically I use List Perfectly, because everyone does kind of use it differently depending on their needs. I know the FI resellers mentioned Liz O'Kane's podcast that she does with Snoop Doggy. I really like that handle. They do a great podcast on reselling and List Perfectly specifically. So many great resources. Join the Facebook group. But yeah, thank you so much for being here. Thank you too. And I hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of the night. And that's it. Do you guys have any last words?
Thank you so much to
Thank
your
you.
beautiful audience. Join our group, ask
Oh,
questions, anything you need. We're here to help. Thank you, Becky.
Thank you,
thank
Becky.
you. All right, bye, guys. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.